Hey y'all, it's Andrea with Sucs For You in Houston, Texas, and I wanted to make a quick video showing you guys the different stages of lithops. They're in, different stages of their growth cycles, and the reason why we want to be able to know and identify what stage they're in is so we know whether to water them or not. So we'll start with this one. It is a single plant. It's not splitting. It's nice and firm. So it doesn't need watering right now, but once it starts to wrinkle a little bit more, like around the sides, then we'll give it a drink. So let's compare that to this one, which is still absorbing those outer leaves. They're not completely dry yet, so we don't want to water it. And as you can see, hopefully, there's not one wrinkle on it. So it's not thirsty. It doesn't need any water. So we definitely want to avoid watering this guy. We want these outer leaves to get nice and crispy, ideally, before we, and then wait for it to wrinkle before we water it again. Now we can see this one, we have twins. The outer leaves of the older plant are pretty crispy. And to be honest, in Houston where it's humid, and if you live in a humid climate, a tropical climate, those outer leaves might not ever get like dry, crispy dry, like crumbly, crispy dry. And they might feel more like, they'll have like a little jerky thing going onto it. But there's no moisture left in these. And what I'm going to do is wait a little bit longer, and then I might go in with some little scissors and just trim that off. Because the reason I would say I would do that is because when we do water, I don't want water getting trapped between those old leaves and the new plant, because that can cause rot. But it's both of them super turgid, very, very well hydrated still, not showing any sign of watering or any sign of need for water. So this one here is starting to feel soft to the touch. It's not really splitting open. You can see its little mouth is still closed pretty tight. So I'll probably go ahead and give him a drink. Let me pull back some. You see a little bit of wrinkles on the side there. So that one can use a drink, and it didn't split this winter. Actually, I had a few lithops that really were struggling, not doing well, and I thought I was going to lose that one. And so I wound up just putting it in a pot with a bunch of other plants and kind of just watering it as I did with them, and it actually perked back up. So definitely had a tough winter with our freeze and all that fun stuff. But it looks like it's doing okay still. The base looks pretty happy. And so we're just going to, give it a drink, and maybe it'll start splitting, or maybe it'll just have to wait until next winter. Now, I don't have any lithops actively splitting right now, but I do have some photos demonstrating what that looks like, and it gets really weird, as I always say. First, if they flower, they tend to flower late fall to early winter, and then after that they're going to start splitting. Then you'll start seeing the new growth emerge, and this can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and during that time, don't water them. Pretty simple, right? So these had some issues with pests. It was a type of scale, it looked like. It was really gross. And I had some on another pink lithops that actually died. But I treated them, and they obviously didn't go through the process of absorbing these older leaves, probably too stressed out to be able to do that. So we still have the old leaves and the new leaves. When you have two paired leaves in lithops, that's called leaf stacking, and you really don't want that, because the plant just can't handle all that water being circulated through its body. It can rot. There is some new growth coming through inside. It's going to be really hard to show you guys, though. Sorry about that, but it just looks like it looks like another plant coming up, down in the very, very tiny little hole. I'm really tempted to chop these off, but I'm going to give it another month and maybe even move it indoors where it's cooler so it doesn't struggle to absorb those leaves. And here we have a bunch of baby seedlings in various stages of life and death. I did lose several in the freeze, unfortunately. Some of them are doing really well. So here you can see there's a green coming through, and that top layer right there is the old leaves, and they're really dry. And I could peel it off, but I'm gonna let it, do its thing naturally. And in order to encourage the new plant, we're gonna give it a tiny sip of water, so it'll just grow just a tiny bit, and it'll push out through those through the dry leaves. But these are it's really thin. It's pretty much like a really thin piece of paper at this point, which is great. And we have another one that's in the process of doing the same thing. You can see a little hole in the middle. That's where the new leaves are the new plant's gonna be coming through. And this one I'm worried about. I am worried about the rest of these, but for now, we're keeping an eye on these guys and rooting them on. So focusing on these right here, we're looking at no water, no water. Probably will need water in the next couple of weeks, and it will be safe to, if we need to remove these outer leaves to prevent water from getting trapped between the old leaf and the new. I'll just use some little scissors to do that. And this guy right here, it's probably going to be another month before these outer leaves are completely absorbed. And then maybe another 2 to 4 weeks before this guy is showing any signs of, need for watering, any wrinkling. And then this one, once again, completely free of its old leaves, and all we'll be doing now is waiting for it to show signs of wrinkling before we water it. Well, that's it for now, and I hope this helped you understand what stage of growth your Lithops are in. Say you get a new one and you're not sure. It's, you can go by the seasons, but, just depending on where they're being grown and when you get them, they could be in any stage of growth. So now you know what to look for. Now you know when to water and when not to water them. And if you have any other, questions, I do have a video, Lithops 101. If you haven't watched that yet, I've been told it's very helpful, and I will link to that in the video description below. And thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.